Have you ever wondered why doesn't my home feel and look the same way homes used to look and feel in older movies? I for sure have, and I'm here to tell you exactly how to make your apartment feel like it came out of a movie, or how to make it feel more cinematic. As a disclaimer before this video starts, I made my apartment feel more cinematic in a very warm, dark, gothic way because I did it this way and I love it. But that doesn't mean you have to do it your way. There are many different ways and styles that you can make your apartment feel more cinematic following these exact tips. So just because I did it this way does not mean it's gonna click with you, and doesn't mean that you have to make it the same. You can make it your own, of course. The first thing, there will be a couple of tips, but the first and the most important thing you can do, and this, if you can only do one thing from this list, I would choose this thing, and that is lighting. Light makes everything feel more cinematic, more moody, or less cinematic, and look horrible and ugly and mundane and everyday. So kill that one big ceiling light that you have in your room and in your home and replace it with multiple different lights that are smaller sources that are spaced around your house. It can be lights like this behind me, which are standing, in the corner. It can be little lamps or candles around the tables and around, furniture around, or even better, combine those lamps with light strips. Light strips that you can put under your couches, around your furniture, around your TV, to make the light more ambient and not just filling in from one source. And the best tip you can do is replace your light bulbs on lights like these with the light bulbs that you can control with your phone. Ideally, with the light strips, get the same company so you can control it in one app, and that's gonna let you control the mood, the vibe, and dimness of the light absolutely perfectly to your desire and to your heart's desire, because you can make light brighter, less bright, more dim. You can make it red, blue, or any color you want. Second tip is never leave big empty walls. The first thing that screams that this house is one-dimensional is big, plain, empty walls with nothing on them. You can do a lot of things to fill those walls. You can do panel linings like I did. You can paint your own pictures. You can buy pictures. You can buy photographs. You can even do plants. There are multiple different options that you can do to make your walls feel more alive and not so empty. So yeah, you can do pretty much anything, again, depending on the vibe that you do. I wanted more gothic and more ornate, so I did panel linings, and I did my own pictures that I took with my camera and I put them in. I put the poster for my short film in, and yeah, give it texture. And one of the great things that you can also do is hang things on the wall that are not necessarily only paintings. I, let's say, have a Venetian carnival mask on my wall, and I have a deer skull on my wall because I think it looks cool and it gives it texture. And now the light falls onto those things and gives interesting shadow and just fills the room with interesting shadows and highlights and contrasts. And the more contrast you have in your space, the more cinematic it's going to look, because it's going to feel a lot deeper. Number 3, let your personality shine. Don't be afraid to show what you like and the style and aesthetics that you want to chase on your walls and on your furniture and around your house, because those are the things that are you and that you are interested in. And a lot of things and a lot of times people are kind of cornered into this minimal way, and everything has to be beautiful and minimal and elegant in case guests show up, and everything has to be super serious because we are serious adults. And I don't know, there is a lot of things stopping people from actually enjoying their hobbies and showing them and displaying them. And I'm a big advocate of actually proudly displaying the things you own and things that bring you joy around your house, as long as they're appropriate, don't take me wrong there as well. But yeah, fill tables and little shelves and empty spaces around your home with the things that bring you joy and things that you are passionate about and the things that you think look cool, because they're gonna give texture and character to your apartment, and therefore with more texture and more character, make it feel more cinematic. Tip number 4 can strongly connect to the last tip, and that is think in frames, not rooms necessarily. Because if you think in one room has to be one specific type and one specific decoration way and one specific lighting style, you're wrong, because you can think in specific frames for different sections of the rooms. You can divide this room in actually a couple of different frames that each hold their own story and then their own kind of way of being lit and their own kind of artistry. You can divide this part, which is the couch and the wall behind me and around me. You can divide it through this wall, which holds the TV and the little shelf that the TV is stationed on. And then on the same wall you can actually count another little section, which is with the kind of shelves in the corner and the sword that's on the wall. And there is another section you can actually divide completely, which is where I hold my record player. So those are kind of different sections that have their own kind of unique vibe and unique way, even though they're all inside the same room. Now, I'm not saying they're super harshly contrasted to one another, because I wanted to make it feel more coherent in this old gothic, moody, dark kind of way. But, you know, there is a skull that's under, like, above the couch, which is not really coherent with the Lego Nightmare Before Christmas that I have next to my TV. So, you know, but it works together because it works in those kind of micro sections. And as long as you know how to separate them artistically and not make them overlap, because if I were to put, I don't know, skulls of deer and, I don't know, bones or something next to Nightmare Before Christmas Legos, it might not necessarily work fantastically. Now, I'm not saying that it might not work because it clashes with each other. It doesn't, because Nightmare Before Christmas and bones work, but those are kind of highlight pieces. So it's not, you know, really thing that's gonna stand neutral in your room. It's something that's going to be noticed and it's going to bring attention. So just make sure that you don't have multiple things that are attention seeking on one singular space. So make sure you space that around and make those little frames inside rooms centered around those highlight spots, so it's not crammed. Like, make it feel more spaced out across the room. And number 5, probably the most complicated one to do, is colors. Colors of the walls, the ceilings, the carpets, and everything else is something that's really important, primarily the walls, because sure, you can leave the walls normal white and they're going to be very neutral and very plain, but you can go with very bold colors. Again, really depending on your style, you can go with really bold bright colors or really bold dark colors, or a specific color palette that you want to, you know, put in your apartment and your living space. And colors are a great way to show off and, you know, even more exaggerate the vibe that you are going for. So don't be afraid to actually dabble in some colors. Just make sure that you really like that color before you actually paint your walls that color. And I have to say, I really love this deep green that's behind me now. And I think it looks, and it makes the apartment look a lot more cinematic than when the walls were just plain white. I'm not saying you have to go with the exact same green, but you hear my point. Don't be afraid of colors and introducing more color in your space, because even for this vibe, which is darker, the color enriches it way more than, I don't know, just putting a skull and some decoration on the wall ever could. So those would be the 5 best tips on how to make your apartment feel more cinematic. And if you can do all 5 of those, that's going to ensure that your apartment is going to feel truly cinematic, and you're basically going to be able to shoot films in it without doing any additional production design or any additional, you know, props, which is kind of a cool thing to say, that you can have a really cool cinematic apartment that also breathes and is a reflection of you and your interests. I hope this video inspires you to maybe do some renovation around the house. Stick around, because there are a lot more videos about filmmaking and filmmaking in general coming. This is kind of a, you know, not my usual topic, but if you liked it, drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.